What is up, CSGs? Welcome to another episode of the Chop Shop Pod. Your Houston Rockets took a L last night to the Memphis Grizzlies in a game where the wheels came off really late in the game. I think we had a chance to win the game. No Alp, no John Moran on their end. We were going toe-to-toe, and toe-to-toe turned to CTE for CTE amongst our players. Just a disappointing. I didn't like the way the game ended. I think one of the biggest things I saw was, obviously, everybody saw the last play with Fred and the men. We can talk about that a little bit. I think overall, Fred's play in the fourth quarter was pretty much on brand with Fred late in games. That is one of his biggest weaknesses, is trying to close out games, being a player that has a lot of limitations, right? And this is why I always say, my opinion, if we're not the greatest offensive team in the world, but we do have a couple guys that have some God-given gifts that just make them matchup nightmares, even if they're shooting inefficiently, right? I would have given the ball to Jalen. And if we wanted to do a two-man, I would have put Jalen and Amen in a two-man action. You got a guy that could roll, pass from the short roll. Tari was in the corner. In Amen, if you put him as the screener, he could also attack, and the same way he attacked Jaylen Brown on that short roll, he can get into a floater, a pull-up kind of midi deal that he got. He could have just beat the guy to the basket and just lay it up. And then Jalen, we know like the shooting is off and on, but one thing Jalen's been consistent his whole career has been he makes big buckets. So at least you would have gave yourself the opportunity. Jalen can get to the rim in a flash two, draw a foul. To me, that's just more pressure points on the defense, rather than, putting a man in a situation where if he doesn't beat his defender, the only other option is to kick it back to Fred VanVleet, which we already know, high arcing 3-time. And he hits them hoes. Like, Fred will hit them hoes, but to me, that's such a limiting play set. Then the cherry on the sundae, the icing on the cake. Why was Jayshawn Tate out there, bro? Like, we love Tate on the Chop Shop. We love Tate. We love what he brings to the team. Longest tenured Rocket. No disrespect to Tate. But if I'm Ime Udoka, why is Jayshawn Tate out there? Why is he out there as a spacer? If you look at the alignment they had, on the right side of the court, you had Fred and Amen. In the far left corner, Tari Eason. In the slot, Tate. And right next to him, Jalen Green. Tari's man, I think it was Aldama, whoever it was already in the paint. Jalen was being face guarded by, I'm forgetting his name right now, the rookie that be hooping. And then Tate's man was damn near already in the paint. So if you look at the freeze frame, when a man gets the ball, there's 4 people looking at him. So even if he did beat his man, he was going into the teeth of the entire Memphis team. Surprised the coach wasn't in there. Right? So they're saying, Jalen Green, you're not going to get a shot. And what does that force? It forces that Fred VanVleet 3-point heave over a contest, over a pull-up, not off the dribble at that. So not Ime Udoka's best. And Ime's usually good at those type of plays. He is usually good at those type of plays. He's usually good outside coming out of a timeout. We've seen, we saw the play in Boston where Sengun slipped. We've seen plays just throughout the season where they're just tricking teams. We even had the one where Fred threw there's so many things, bro. But anytime it's Fred, bro, in the clutch moments, Fred he'll hit them hoes as an outlet. When he got to go off the dribble, you got to be a little worried. So not really the best. I mean, look at this. I'm looking at the scores right now. The brother, team worst in the fourth quarter in the game, -9 for Fred. Only played 5 minutes, -9, 0 for 4 from field goals. Didn't get to the free throw line. 0 for 1 from twos, 0 for 3 from threes. No rebounds, no blocks, 1 turnover, no fouls drawn. No true shooting percentage because he didn't make anything, 0 points. That brother was out there doing what I do. He had the same amount of stats from me watching the game on my couch as him playing in the game. Yeah, that ain't gonna get it, bro. We got to rip the Band-Aid off. I'm okay with. I mean, if you're gonna drop a play for a man, you got to get that ball to Jalen, bro, and let him and a man cooking that 2-man. But the game was good. It was a good game. I think we could have played a lot better than we did. It's not just because Sengun was missing. I just felt like it was a weird game. Just had no juice. You know what I mean? It was missing that juice that you like. Maybe because Ja wasn't playing. It did pick up as the time went on, but we just didn't have that juice, man. Memphis outshot us. You got, they just outshot us from pretty much everywhere. Shot a lot in the paint. A lot in the paint for Memphis in the game. So we just got to be better. We got to be better as a team because injuries are going to happen. That's the unfortunate part of the NBA. Next man up. We did it in last year. You also have to factor in that these guys are getting, used to different things happening. Obviously, Alp is a big part of the offensive sets, the defense we run. So him not being there, it's like you're in a new role all of a sudden, and you got to change all of a sudden. And guess what? You're on the road against a team that's on your ass in the standings. I get it. So that I understand how in one game that's a hard pivot, especially when it became a game time decision. So I just didn't want to lose that game to Memphis, bro. If we had to pick a loss, I would have taken that back-to-back loss against Atlanta rather than Memphis because it's an in-conference opponent. They're the third seed. We're the second. They were about a game and a half behind us. Now it's like a half game. So didn't want to lose that one, but it is what it is. We move forward. As the Houston Rockets, we move forward. We're still second in the West, 32-15, sitting pretty, doing what we have to do.
Alperen Sengun is an all-star. The Wizard is an all-star. You heard it here first.
And what's impressive is in clutch moments, they rely heavily on him.
Out to the for the stop.
The defense.
And then he recovers on Miller and blocks it out of bounds.
Alperen Sengun. He is a star for the Houston Rockets, and he has them playing their best ball in years.
VanVleet is the inbounder. Comes into Sengun. Into the run. Got there. Behind the back again for Green. Into the lane. Finds Sengun to the cup. Bends the rim for the slam.
It has been all about the Turkish stud, Alperen Sengun.
They talking to, man. Who they talking to?
Okay, so way to bury the lead for me, though. Shout out to the boy Alperen Sengun for making the All-Star team. This is a momentous occasion. I want you to, as a Rockets fan, I want you where you are to take your hand and pat yourself on the back because what you've done is you have made it out of the rebuild, officially out of the rebuild. The reason this is substantial moment for the Rockets franchise is because when you trade for the caliber, you trade out the caliber of player James Harden is, what you want, usually what you get back in some way, shape, or form is a young all-star player or all-star potential player. And it didn't look good for them first couple of years, bro. Under Stephen Silas, we were dead to rights. But all of it came to fruition. And Rafael Stone, this is definitely a day of celebration for him because he drafted Alperen Sengun. He was able to make the maneuvers. Obviously, Sengun isn't directly from the Harden trade, but it's from the end of the Harden era. So I lump all of that in the same umbrella, right? I lump all of that in the same umbrella because the choice to pivot out of being a relevant team is what brought about the moves that led to all these young players being on our team. So for the Rockets, this is a momentous occasion because in order for you to really say that you've made it out is when you get that all-star player. And the best part about it is we got a couple loading on the team. I expect 2 or 3 all-stars on the Rockets next year with Jalen, Amen, as guys that are going to have a chance to make the team next year along with Alp. And this is just showing you the growth and development of our players. You think about these young kids, and I call them kids because I'm much older than a lot of our players. I would say pretty much all the players. I think the only Uncle Jeff is older than me. I'm not as old as Jeff Green. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not that old. But pretty much everybody else that's not Jeff Green, I think I'm older than. I'm gonna say that. I think I'm older than them. So for the babies on the team, like the 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds, they're really young to me. So when you see, and somebody had posted on social media, they posted the summer league video of Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green and all them boys in the summer league, and you look how young they look. To watch that and watch them mature over the years, through the ups and downs, going through all the things they went through to get to this point where one of them is being called as an NBA All-Star is just beautiful to watch. I had made the analogy, it's like watching, your kids grow up, right? It's like when he first came here, he was like a little toddler that was just trying to walk, and now he's coming up asking me, hey, can you teach me how to shave? Like it is very special, especially because as fans, we invest so much into these players, into the team. You invest your mind and your emotions, and you want them to win, and you're bragging about them, or they lose and you're mad. So all of that, you buy tickets. So it is something to celebrate when you see your patience be paid off with one of our players actually becoming an all-star. I think it's hella deserved. Well deserved. And it's just more to come for this team as far as where we stand as a second seed. So shout out to Al P. Ironically enough, he made it with James Harden, and on the poster for I don't know if it was NBA or TNT, they have them right next to each other. How poetic is that? That you have a young Rocket and you have the old Rocket, the kind of the face of the franchise from the last era, on the poster next to each other, almost like a passing of the torch. And I will be there for the Sengun and James Harden two-man game. I hope it does happen. I don't know. I think I hope they go back to West East. I'm tired of this drafting stuff. It's stupid, right? That's probably why they don't play, because the drafting, like, let's keep at least a little edge of the conference. At least let's brag about our conference a little bit, bro. Like, we from the West, y'all from the East. Let's keep the colors, man. Let's do some, gang activities with the conferences. Don't like this whole draft. I think that's one of the reasons. All-Star game been pretty trash for a long time. We got the pandemic game because Bean and all those children and the pilot from that plane crash, the helicopter crash happened, and that motivated the players. But we don't want to have somebody have to die for them to have to play hard. But it makes it a lot harder when they are mixed and match on random teams. Like, at least there was the beef of West is better than East, East is better than West. I wish the NBA would throw some incentives that actually translate into real tangible value for the players, not just money, but maybe, home court in the finals or something. Just throw something on there. But regardless of all that, it's a special moment because I think in these games, a lot of times, just like with the playoffs, being in this level and being considered in this level can step your game to another level where you see yourself as one of the elite in the league. You're rubbing elbows with the best players in the world. You're in that crowd. You're taking the team pictures. That team picture with the jersey on is going to be on his mantle forever. That's nothing nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take your name being called out with LeBron James. It's going to be in San Francisco this year. All of this is special. And to have our 22-year-old center being called, you know what I mean? I know some of the fans don't appreciate his game. You know what I mean? I know there's some people that wish he was a bit more traditional. He's what Jay-Z said, I'm awkward, I box lefty. Yeah, he's a little awkward with his game. But I'm telling you, bro, the thing that makes his even more significant that I really love, that he was voted on as a reserve, because who votes on reserves? Who votes on the reserves? Not the media. Damn sure ain't y'all. Ain't the fans. That ain't the fans, even though he was a highly fan-voted player. It's not the writers. It's not the bloggers. It's not Twitter. It's not a fan poll. It's not even players, because players can be biased. It's the coaches. The coaches are the one who vote. The coaches, the one that have to sit through film and create game plans for their teams every night in order to try to win games. The coaches that turn on the tape and see, okay, let's turn this tape on. Okay, this is what we got to do. Let's send 3. We're going to send 3 and dare anybody else to beat us. Shout out Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics, reigning champions, saying we will let Amen Thompson and Dylan Brooks beat us before we let Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green. All-star activities, right? The coaches, right? The coaches that will trap, will blitz, will double, will send late help, will shade. The coaches that will pull their hair out trying to figure you out, trying to find a way to stop your team. And all of that ends in you still beating them night in, night out, night in, night out, whipping them to be the second seed in the West, one of the top teams in the league. All anchored both on offense and defense by a 22-year-old center. That's why he's an all-star. I get people feel like Sabonis or this player got snubbed, and I would say Sabonis probably deserves it. Sabonis is a better player than Alperen Sengun, if we're being honest, in a vacuum. At the point he is in his career, with his production, his efficiency, with his just everything, in a vacuum, he's a better player than Alperen Sengun. If you're just looking at pure function of what they do on a minute-by-minute basis when they're on the court, Sabonis is a production machine. The only problem with that is that impact on winning. Impact on winning. What Sabonis does, as great as it is pretty on the box scores, as even impactful as it is, doesn't really bend the game as much as Alp does, at least in the eyes of the coaches. Because when I watch a player like Sabonis and I'm watching the Kings tape, when I turn their tape on and I watch how do we stop this, I'm thinking of DeMar. I'm thinking I got to blitz Fox because he's going to kill me in the mid-range game. And guess what? Sabonis can eat off the scraps. Yeah, he's part of that equation. He's part of that two-man game. But if your two-man game is being solved to the point that you're the 10th, 11th seed in the West, how effective is your two-man game? How effective? I don't see Sabonis getting blitzed. I don't see him getting trapped. Teams just let him do his thing. He gets his 18 to 20-some points, his 12 rebounds, 60% shooting from rolls to the basket, layups. He's a good three-point shooter this year. And the Kings probably lose the game because there's really no equation to solve. As a coach, play your base defense, make it a little rough on Fox, try to keep yourself out of foul trouble with DeRozan. You can beat them. Fox, better than Jalen and probably any guard in a vacuum on our team. Sabonis, like I said, he's a better player than Alperen Sengun. You look at their role players. DeRozan, former All-Star. Fox is a former All-Star. Sabonis is an All-Star. You got sixth man of the year with old buddy. I'm blanking on his name right now. Jalen Green's downside clone. You got vets on the team. You got good, high draft picks, et cetera. They had a great coach. Still couldn't win, right? Couldn't win. Been in the playoffs one time in the last damn near 30 years. Not saying that those players' fault. But there's a lack. There's something missing from that. What is missing is what the Rockets have. Look at our team. Our two-man action is either Fred and LP or Jalen and LP. And you could throw in some immense stuff in there. That two-man action is giving teams hell. It's giving teams hell, man. We're doing this with up and down shooting from our team on the perimeter. Our center has a 53% true shooting, but how do we keep winning? You turn on the tape and you look at how they play. Remember Sabonis rolling to the basket, layups, lobs, dunks, bully ball. Sengun is scoring in isolation, in the post, over anybody. Rudy Gobert, bring that ass. It don't matter who you are. Porzingis, it don't matter. Ide, You name it, Zubac, Wemby, it don't matter. If you leave that man one-on-one, he is going to cook you and probably put up 30 on you. So as a coach, what do you have to do? Hey, bro, I'm sorry. I got to send help. You sending help. We seen Evan Mobley and Jared Allen arguing. After Jared Allen was getting cooked, Evan Mobley said, I got him. Sengun proceeded to isolate him from the top of the three-point line, hit him with a crossover and get to the basket and drop him off like a kid. Right? All-star activities. It's a difference, man. When you're bending the defense, when you got a double with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, with Rudy, when you got to send help for Draymond, you're doing something. And what that does is opens up everything else. You get shots, cuts, dunks. And to even top it off even more, we ain't even talking about the defense. We've been top 5 defense damn near for 2 years. Damn near for 2 years. And he's the anchor for that. Sabonis ain't doing that. He's not guarding in isolation. Check the numbers. He's not guarding the pick and roll as well as Alp. He can guard big. Sabonis is he can guard the post. He's strong. He's an ox. But they cooking him in that pick and roll. Check the pick and roll ball handler stats on Sengun versus Sabonis. Check the isolation scoring stats for Sengun versus Sabonis. Anything that deals with what a typical center does, Sabonis got that. Because that's what he is. He is great as what he does. What sets him apart is his passing. He is a gifted passer. With his rebounding, the passing, and the production and just how clean his game is, very impactful. But Sengun's a different animal. It's a different animal. Even better, he's 22. So the Fox, Sabonis, that whole two-man combo in its peak, they are in their peak right now. 11th seed. Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, 2nd seed. If I'm a coach and I'm voting, what are we doing? So don't listen to the casuals. Don't listen to people online because they don't know basketball, bro. If you understand this game, that's why I be telling y'all, if you understand this game, you would know what you're seeing. If you understand this game, you would know what the coaches see. This started last year. I'd be trying to watch all the post-game interviews. All the post-game interviews from the opposing head coaches. Same thing. We got to stop the inside. We got to stop the big man. Once we do that, then we'll live with whatever you want to do. Dillon Brooks want to score 36. Hey, tip of the cap, bro. Do it again. Right? A man want to score 35. Hey, brother, good for you. Do it again. Jalen Green wants to shoot 70% true shooting. Do it again. What you don't want is for your big to get cooked all night and then the confidence goes down and now he's done for the night and you got just an open buffet to your basket. Or your big gets fouled out and now you have no big. Your backup is in. Your Jock Londale is in the game. Now you already lost. Right? Or you try to send help and now you're just generating movement, cuts, shooting from all over the court. And I still think the Rockets are not great at doing what they need to do. They're still learning. So if anybody tries to tell you Alp doesn't deserve to be an all-star, simply reply to them, they don't know ball. The last thing I wanted to talk about was some of the deadline stuff. Shout out to Fred. I seen a tweet from, I forgot what the site is, that said that the Rockets are engaged in long-term discussions about his contract, keeping him here long-term. And I think that'd be great. Honestly, I think keeping Fred is good. He's part of the team. We've adopted him in Houston. He is Houston. We love Fred. But we're going to love Fred, hopefully, as the time goes on from a more passive role, right? We don't love the Fred we saw last night that just fell with nobody really doing anything to him last night in the middle of the fourth quarter with, I think, less than a minute. He literally just fell. Like, he just fell down, bro, like a geriatric person. Bro just fell. just fell and turned the ball over. Like, just fell down and said, here, take the ball. We don't love that Fred. We love Fred that's guiding our young guys, hitting big shots, getting them in position. And I think that it's appropriate for him to re-sign at a lower annual cost. I understand that. Security for the long term. You keep your culture. I think Fred is important to the team. He keeps us grounded. I really do. And I know people don't appreciate that stuff, but I'm not going to make the mistake if I'm the Rockets of the Trevor Ariza thing, right? There's certain players that just give you a certain on your team, and I think Fred is one of those guys. So if the Rockets can get him re-signed, restructure his contract, keep him here, and phase him off the starters, bro, we have a backcourt already. Amen Thompson, Jalen Green is our backcourt of the future. They're going to keep developing their handles and all the stuff they need to do to handle the job full-time, and Fred can still play significant minutes. Fred can close games. You know what I mean? Fred can get good minutes. He can be the outlet valve. He can get some pick and roll one-on-ones with Alp and on the bench units. They can still run that. That can be something. But I think as time goes on, he's going to age. You already see signs of him aging. He's a smaller guard. It's just what happens. That's just how the game goes. Like, he's going to age. It happens to the best of them. And so we just need to be prepared for that transition of power. Right, that succession plan of giving it to the young bulls. Now, it's a little hard to do that when you're trying to win games and you're in a playoff push, and the West is so loaded. So give Ime some grace, because in order to rip the Band-Aid off, you risk having a nosedive and losing not a bunch of games, but it could impact your win-loss. So there's a way to do it, and he's doing it. Y'all just don't notice. The minutes, the roles of some of our vets are starting to fall back a little bit. And it's really out of injuries and necessity that you see games like you do yesterday. So, you know, I mean, shout out to Fred. I think that if it's not happened already, De'Aaron Fox may be a Spur by the next few days. Does that mean anything to us in the West? No, we're a second seed. You know, let the Lakers and whoever else is down there figure it out, right? They'll figure out. If they get to the 4th seed after he gets traded, then we'll holler at them. But that's poor people problem for them. So good luck to bro. I'm actually okay with him not coming to Houston. I'm not gonna lie. I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. He can, San Antonio's cool. I know he's a hometown kid. But yeah, he can go to San Antonio with Wemby. I'm cool with that. Good luck to them. I still think that for the Rockets, I love Steven Adams. I think he's playing great ball, but last night when you need him, I don't like having to need anybody that I can't trust like that. Like, I don't want to need Jock Landale. I don't want to need Jayshawn Tate. I don't want to need Aaron Holiday, right? I need players that I can just, oh yeah, what's his name is not playing tonight? He's starting, I bet. Like, I don't want to be like, damn, what we gonna get tonight? Like, that's not a good feeling for a playoff team, right? We're making a push. So I think we need a center, bro. So if it just depends on who, the Robert Williams thing, pros and cons on that, injury, et cetera, et cetera. I still think he'd be great on the team. I think that you can do a lot of things with him in the lineups, even without P, more than you can because he covers more ground and just more athletic. So you can get away with him playing. If you can put Tate and Alp on the court together with Amen Thompson, you can put Robert Williams there. So I think that hopefully they do pull off something like getting him. I think he would be ideal for our team. I think it gives us really solid center rotation that you can't go wrong in. And if the sooner the better. I would love for that trade to happen. If they don't do anything, which is probably the highest probability, I'm cool with that. But I kind of want us to have a little more roster flexibility. I also think that Jabari's position, the power forward, is a need for the Rockets. I'm going to add that to my bucket list of items that they need to do this summer is get another power forward. Because as much as we like to upload Tari or amend to those positions, they're not fours, bro. They're not fours, and they don't function as fours. And I think we take that for granted, what they do, but in a fully functional team against other good teams, that those positions really get exposed. The lack of size, some of the ability to shoot and score in the mid-range or to even stretch the floor. So I would like us to have a backup to Jabari that's actually a Jabari type, or somebody that's like 6'10", 6'11", that stretches the floor, weak side shot block, length, all that good stuff. Christian Woodish, but not Christian Wood. So, but those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. Want to get some thoughts on tape before we play Brooklyn tomorrow. I think is the game for Brooklyn, or today, if you're depending on when I upload this video. But as you guys know, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop, and we're gonna keep dropping that. Bye.
DJ Candlestick. It's the Chop Not Slap Show.